My name is Lotika Pai, the City of Chicago's Chief Small Business Officer and Managing Deputy Commissioner for the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, also known as BACP. The BACP curated Behind the Business License series showcases the value of our Neighborhood Business Development Center program for current and future business owners. The program consists of over 60 local business service organizations that provide no-cost, hyper-local business support. This episode features the Edgewater Chamber of Commerce and Loaves and Witches Cafe. Edgewater is a vibrant hub for artists, food lovers, and theater enthusiasts. A rich history, thriving cultural scene, and convenient public transit make this historic neighborhood one of Chicago's best-kept secrets. Loaves and Witches Cafe is a new bakery in Edgewater with a mission to create a safe, sober, and inclusive environment, particularly for LGBTQ+ individuals seeking meaningful connections. To help them and other entrepreneurs along their journey, the Edgewater Chamber of Commerce is a non-profit organization that promotes and supports businesses in the Edgewater community through marketing, education, networking, and advocacy programs.
A year ago, we opened our doors as Loaves and Witches, but our story as friends and business partner goes a little bit further than that. We met in 2018 through a mutual friend who actually is one of our managers here at the shop, and we're more of acquaintances. We were both in active addiction at the time, and years had passed. We both got sober, got into recovery, and became incredibly close friends, and that started building a lot of our common mutual interests and really exploring that with each other. Lisa is an incredible at-home baker and started bringing these just extravagant pastries and baked goods to our softball games. We're all on a queer softball team in Chicago, and her ingredients, her food was so inclusive and professional looking, and I am more of a business mind and have been in sales and marketing for 15 years. And kept joking with her to start a business, whether that was at a farmer's market or, opening a small shop. We eventually down the road started really kind of taking it a little bit more seriously. The second we walked into this space, we immediately fell in love. And we had not walked in with intentions of purchasing a bakery and walked out and immediately were giddy with anticipation and both mutually fell in love with this space in this neighborhood and kind of sat in the car and looked at each other like, should we do this? Should we take this leap? And the rest is kind of history a year ago.
Starting a business is a gigantic undertaking. We learned so much both about, I think, the whole process, ourselves, and each other. We've hit a point where our relationship is so strong because we don't have the time to let things fester because we have to come together as a team. And I'm really grateful for that foundation of friendship that we have. In terms of the process, we opened fairly quickly after we closed on the sale. So it was about a month and a half of just hitting the ground running. And there were so many things that we didn't know. It was the amount of hats that we had to take on and off was unbelievable in terms of designing the space, designing the menu, hiring, navigating the city, getting our business license. All of that was a very joyful process, and it was a very exhausting process.
The types of events that we have at Loaves and Witches is directly related to a lot of the heartbeat of our business, which is very community-led. It's very important for us to be a third space and a safe space for folks from any and all backgrounds in this neighborhood. And the types of events we have are a lot of from outreach. Folks reach out to us asking to host, whether that's a craft night or trans poetry readings, or we have trivia nights that are late night event spaces. We have a D&D tournament that happens on the weekends. It's beautiful. We have any kind of event you can imagine that also aligns with our mission and what we believe in.
We were really excited to extend our hours too, because we initially started with more limited hours and then expanded to 10 p.m. at least on the weekends, on Friday and Saturday, to give folks a different place to go that isn't a bar, that de-centers alcohol altogether and centers queer people was really important to us too. Like, the community is really the touchstone of this place. Of course, we want to have good coffee, we want to have good baked goods, but it really is about the community and what they want and responding to that. And that's something that we work to never lose sight of. The process with hiring our staff, they are the touchstone of this business. They really are part of the heartbeat. And when we went into the hiring process, we were very transparent about the fact that we were brand new, that this was, not a business that was already running, and that this was an exciting thing to be a part of. And we were so excited to have these people and all of their different personalities. Like, we really, really encourage people to be themselves. As a queer business is especially important to us, and we stand by that, and we will stand behind them always. We love hearing their suggestions, their feedback, always trying to have an open door. If anything else, like, over communicating, I think has been so important in this first year.
And I think with our staff over the last year, we started with, I think our initial team was 10, and we had to immediately hire 4 more. So we actually have 10 full-time employees and 4 part-time employees. And we are incredibly proud to say that we have the same staff that we opened our doors with. And being able to employ folks in this community is imperative also to hear what they see in their neighborhood as residents of Edgewater. And it's been incredibly rewarding to just have this team. I think this team is probably the thing that Lisa and I are the proudest of, and cherish them every day.
We call this place our baby, and it is like, it kind of is. It literally never sleeps, and you always have to have your eyes on the thing. We clocked so many 16+ hour days. They've become much more few and far between, but be prepared for that. I hate to say it, as much as I would love to say, like, get rest. Like, of course, get rest, but you're gonna be working around the clock for a hot minute. And then also, in the rare instance that the baby is asleep, don't create extra work for yourself, and learn to delegate. We have developed such a trusting relationship with our staff. When you get those pockets of time to rest, take that time, focus on other areas of your life to nurture, and then come back to it and hit the ground running.
I think other avenues too in being prepared when opening a business would be, I think we were ill-prepared to be successful. That was such a gift, to open our doors and immediately have the community support us and want to be a part of this cafe in a space that they were craving in this neighborhood. And another thing that really just escalated where we were at as new business owners was making friends with other small business owners was huge, and not coming from a competitive mindset. I think that's something we've seen in Chicago, especially being so beautiful, is that it's not really a competitive landscape when it comes to small business. It's all about helping each other out. And we have a shared kitchen space where Rivers and Roads, the owners, Mike and Janine, were so crucial in opening. We asked them every question in the world, and they were so willing to help. And we still, to this day, will get ingredients for each other on different orders, or like, do you have a box of butter I can borrow today? And things like that. And just having that collaboration with another small business. In any other avenue, people would consider a competitor, but we just don't have that mindset. Chicago's a big city. Everybody needs coffee. And we are blessed to both have coffee shops that are in this community and love us both equally, and it's just amazing. But building relationships with other small business owners was crucial. So our relationship with the Edgewater Chamber of Commerce has been instrumental to us even opening our doors. We were in the craziness of opening the business. We had been stuck in zoning in our business license, and trying to reach out to anyone we could to move the process along. And it was just so serendipitous. One day, David Oakes, who works at the Edgewater Chamber of Commerce, was walking by, wanted to come in, pop in, see us, drop off little treats and little presents for our cafe, including like even the antlers behind us, and just be really supportive and encouraging us to consider joining the chamber. We had let them know where we were in the process, and David was wonderful and was like, let me see what I can do, reach out to folks I know. I think it was within a couple days we were finally pushed out of zoning, finally could get granted our business license, and that was, I mean, we didn't need any other evidence to join the chamber outside of that. That was a pretty easy sell. And it has been wonderful to be able to send just a quick email to Garrett or David and get a response pretty quickly on, hey, we have a question about our sidewalk permit, or this happened and we're freaking out, and immediately put us at ease, immediately walk us through anything that we might not understand. And it has been weight off our shoulders to have the Edgewater Chamber of Commerce supporting us every day. Having a City of Chicago business license to us is truly a tangible extension of our dream. It's really all of these dreams and conversations we had at softball practices and over late night porch coffee talks, just on a piece of paper. It's so surreal at times. Opening this business has absolutely been our heart and soul, and seeing that license every day just shows and proves all of our hard work, and our dreams paid off, and we took a big leap, both never having done this before, and it is just such a gift. I get very excited if anybody asks for like a scan of our license or to prove our certificate. I get like a little happy dance, and like we'll be like, absolutely, this is ours. We earned it, and we did all this hard work to earn it. But it's our dream on paper, and it makes it real, and it's such a gift.
Our neighborhood business development center is the Edgewater Chamber of Commerce. We are the business service organization for the entire Edgewater community area. We have about 200 members, and we're growing. We have a really awesome farmers market. We're planning a big street festival. We do all kinds of programming, marketing, advocacy, education, and networking for our members and for the greater business community as a whole. Before Loaves and Witches ever even opened up, we started working with them really early on. I think Julia and Lisa came to one of our business focus groups while they were still in the process of permitting and opening up. And, you know, just from the get-go, we established a really awesome relationship with them when it came to sort of all of the red tape that they had to get through to open up, but also just market their business, network with other local businesses. They just sort of got it. They got what the vibe was all about. So we didn't even have to provide that much for them, I felt like. You know, we drop in here regularly once they open up to grab cinnamon rolls or drink, but they come to all of our stuff. We come to all their stuff. We help market all their incredible programs that they have in this space. They're doing so much here during the day, in the evenings. They've used our website event calendar as a place where that they can promote their events and programs. They have a fantastic social media presence. We're sometimes really just piggybacking off of all of that, the energy that they bring to us, and they've participated in a lot of our events. We had our very first Edgewater indoor market this winter, which was just 3 events, and they had never done like a farmer's market before, but they showed up, they brought the baked goods, and they brought the energy. Right now, we're sitting here that they have in their window, they have a poster for our outdoor farmer's market, and I guarantee you we'll get a few people today that said, well, I only found out about your market because I saw it at Loaves and Witches. It's not even just about us assisting them. I think it goes both ways. Loaves and Witches has an immense impact on our community. I think, first of all, we don't have a lot of third spaces here. The places that we do have in sort of the east and north sides of Edgewater tend to be like legacy dive bars that focus on, again, an older crowd and people who are there to drink. And we don't have a lot of spaces to sprawl out, hang out, and meet people. And this place has been just a revelation because there's always people here. No matter what time you walk in, I walk in for lunch, I walk in the morning, I walk in the evening. It's people everywhere. It's an incredibly diverse and friendly and fun crowd. I've met people here. I always see staff that I recognize. The staff here is incredibly friendly. It's been exactly the type of fun, trendy place that this part of Edgewater needs. I think aside from that, They've been very involved in the community, and they're also sort of like a business incubator because they have this gigantic kitchen and they have other businesses that come here and use the kitchen, which is something that had actually started with the previous business owner here but has continued into Loaves and Witches. So there's a lot of collaboration and innovation happening here behind the scenes because our other chamber members are often here working in the kitchen, so I see them when I stop in. I think it's just really fun. We hear a lot of sort of concerns from local business owners. I think the last few years, a lot of it has related to red line construction because the CTA red line has been kind of a mess for the last few years and is opening up again within the next month or two, we hope. A lot of it just relates to pedestrian traffic on Broadway and the adjoining east-west streets. Businesses need to see more people, more walkability, and more of like a collective business community coming together to promote the community. That's why we're doing all sorts of things, both the chamber and Special Service Area 26, which we are the sole service provider for, is doing a lot in terms of streetscaping, branding, banners, events, all the sorts of things that really draw people to the neighborhood and create a collective identity for Broadway and for Edgewater. I think going forward, we want to see more of everything, more programming, more people, more residential development, more commercial developments, that there's more suitable, high quality spaces in the neighborhood for new businesses like Loaves and Witches to move into. We get a lot of inquiries from potential businesses that want to move into the neighborhood, but don't necessarily have a suitable place to go because they're looking for a kitchen space or a cafe space, and those places don't really exist in Edgewater right now, or if they do, they're not the type of quality or size that they're looking for. It's tough right now, but as the chamber, we need to do our best to work closely with local businesses that are already here, local businesses that want to move here, but also developers, landlords, realtors, and city officials to make sure that we have the sort of dense, walkable, and thriving business environment on Broadway and our adjoining streets that cultivates more businesses. I think the NBDC program is really important for a lot of reasons. Local chambers of commerce and business service organizations do a lot of things, I think, both very visually to everyone, but also behind the scenes that people don't see to cultivate a cohesive business community, a cohesive brand for neighborhoods, and to draw people to our business districts to actually patronize businesses. I come from maybe a little bit more unique of a background than some people because I've worked at several different chambers, some in the city of Chicago that were part of the NBDC program and had special service areas, and some outside of the city of Chicago where we didn't have NBDC funding and we didn't have an SSA and we didn't have really any support from the city at all. And there's a really stark difference. When you don't have funding for business development and consultations, chambers of commerce often turn into almost more political lobbying entities because they're constantly fundraising. And oftentimes to do that, you have to be adversarial to the city. And we don't have to do that in the city of Chicago because the NBDC program works closely with local chambers of commerce to make sure that we have the resources and staffing and funding that we need to assist businesses and make sure that businesses are connecting with the city instead of acting in an adversarial manner. And that's really important to me. Here, we're actually supporting businesses. I get to work one-on-one with businesses. I don't have to constantly be pushing them to pay for memberships that they don't see value in. We have the time to build the type of initiatives and programs internally that down the road convince those businesses that there's a lot of value in joining the Chamber of Commerce. And for the businesses that can't afford to join the Chamber of Commerce, we are still able to help them because we do have the funding and staff and support to do that. So I think the NBDC program is really important, and I don't think that Edgewater or Edgewater Chamber of Commerce would be the same without it.
New Behind the Business License episodes air every other Tuesday on Cable 25, and reruns occur continuously. Also, episodes can be viewed by visiting youtube.com/ChicagoBACP. Our guests will always have valuable information to share, so please join us next time on Behind the Business License.